Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli, certified nutrition coach, consultant, counselor, call me whatever you like. On this episode, I want to address a few things regarding fad diets, how to spot them, what to look for, why they're garbage, and just kind of go from there so maybe you don't fall for one again. We've all been guilty of it, I'm sure. I know I have back in the day. And I'm just going to list off some red flags. What to look for to know that, hey, maybe this isn't something that is going to work for me in the long run. I should save my money and my time and really focus on what's going to work for me forever. And that's a scary word to use for people, the word forever. I say it a lot because it gets people's attention. It really does. No one wants forever, because what you're used to seeing, and this will be the first red flag, is a time limit on a diet or a sector of time. It could be a 21-day fix, a 7-day cleanse, 90-day, whatever. If it says, hey, this is a section of time that we're going to be doing something and then you're going to stop, forget it, okay? Because what happens with these is that it's going to probably suck for the most part because it's temporary, and you will lose weight. You'll probably lose muscle and fat, which is not a good way to lose weight. You'll probably lose it fast, which you'll like to see on the scale. However, the process is not going to be sustainable for you. It'll likely be miserable. Your weight coming off is not ideal for your body composition and for what's to come in the future. So if you think about it, okay, you look at something, I can do this for 3 months and I'm going to lose, they say I can lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Okay, go ahead and do that. But then what happens when you're done? You know, you don't like the diet. Oh, it's over. It's 90 days are done. Whoa, I lost 30 pounds on the scale. Look at me. And then you just go back to your old habits and the weight comes back. The problem here is that you've lost your muscle mass as well as fat. And if you aren't careful with how to maintain it and figuring that part out of it, you're likely going to just gain fat all back. And that way, and now you're in a worse spot when you hit that weight again. If you do gain it all back, it's all fat. You lost muscle, and now you've added fat, so you're at a worse body percentage to skeletal muscle mass ratio. So be very careful when you dive into something like that. And if you have to feel like you have to keep going back on it, oh, I lost all this weight, I'm going to go back on it, it works. No, it doesn't work. That's the whole thing. It doesn't work. If you have to go on it to lose the weight on and off, it's not sustainable. It's not for you. Same thing like I kind of said in there when we said that there's a time frame. Like you look for those time frames of 90 days. You also want to look for diets that guarantee you 20-pound losses. They throw out numbers. They just throw out numbers, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. They just throw out numbers. They don't know anything. They don't know who you are. You might not have that much to lose. They're just saying numbers that probably are most common what people think they need to lose. So you buy the program and you go on it, you drop the weight, and then you revert back to what I just said again, where you lose the muscle mass with the fat, and it's just a big yo-yo mess. And before you know it, your body composition's all out of whack, and it's ugly. So with that being said as well, what they're going to do in these diets is put you on some sort of restriction that may restrict you from foods that you like, and like a low-carb diet we've talked about before. You don't need to fear the carbs. You don't need to do that. You don't need to drink shakes, all that. And that's another red flag. If you need to buy a product, whether it's a piece of equipment, whether it's a shake, a supplement, a pill, a drop, whatever, you don't need any of it. There's no miracle drug. There's no miracle pill. They're going to tell you that it's the newest science, the newest technology, whatever it is, and it's this ridiculously amazing way to do things. It's all a sales pitch. It really is. It's all to generate money. It's not to help you. It's to take your money. All of these temporary fixes and these products and these machines. So that's another major one right there. So that's what they're going to want you to do, is to keep buying the product that supposedly is helping you lose fat. And that's just not. If it tells you it's going to lose belly fat, that's what they like to do. It's going to target belly fat, loses belly fat. They love saying that because most people want to lose fat there. That's just typical. That's where fat is stored in most people. It's the first place it will come off, which will get you going for that. Also, the last place it goes. So, more often than not, we're looking to lose the belly fat. So they tell you that the diet loses and targets belly fat. You cannot target fat loss anywhere in your body at all. It's scientifically impossible. It is not something that happens biologically inside of human beings. Muscle does not turn into fat. Fat does not turn into muscle. They are completely mutually exclusive, and anyone that says otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. So that's another major red flag. If it tells you there's good foods and bad foods, we kind of said this before, there are no good and bad foods. There's just better or worse, more nutritious or less. And when it comes to calories and body composition, it's about the quantity of the food, not even the quality. The quality is more for your health. Quantity is more for your body composition. So forget that part of it. Just don't label things good and bad, because you're going to take on this idea that this bad food that they're labeling bad is causing fat gain upon consumption. Fat does not come on due to a specific food being consumed. It is when you exceed your calorie maintenance into a surplus, and you do that regularly, that is how you consistently gain fat, especially if you're not active. Something that's being advertised or endorsed by a celebrity, that's probably trash, most likely. I mean, they just are paid to push something. And that's pretty much a red flag. I mean, Suzanne Summers, what did she have? Some Buns of Steel thing or something? What was it? You didn't need that thing. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. What else we got? Cleanses and detoxes are completely a waste of money. They are your body detoxes itself. Your body can cleanse itself. You don't need some 7-day thing to do anything. It does nothing. Absolutely nothing. What you want to do is just start by changing habits first. Eliminate something. That's what these diets, they would tell you to start eliminating things that you're already doing, and not just carbohydrates, because that's what they want to focus on. The reason why they focus on the carbohydrates is because when you do eliminate them from your diet, you typically are taking away all of the snack food, the processed food, and by default, you eat more protein and fat, where that's more filling, and you eat less that way. And that's the whole thing around the carbs. If it's got you not living your social life, if you're hiding somewhere, if you're going to parties and you're secretly putting Tupperware in your car or in your purse or whatever it is, and you're just going to the bathroom and eating it by yourself, going out to your car to eat, that kind of shit is unnecessary unless you are training for a physique competition or you have some strict dietary needs that are just out of this world. Then in that case, you don't want to do that. And then if any diet just kind of comes up and it basically is inconveniencing your entire life and flipping everything around and timing of food, you don't need to time your food. You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as you're in a calorie deficit with adequate protein. That is it. That is the bottom line. The only meal timing I even believe in a little bit is having a balance of protein, fat, and carbs within an hour or two after you strength train. Even then, you don't have to rush home to eat it. You don't have to, go to the bathroom at the gym and mix a protein shake next to the urinals or something like that. So just don't even do that. There's so many little meticulous. They like to make things so rigid and meticulous to make you feel like you're doing something, and it's terrible. There's other diets that they tell you to not work out because they're so low calorie. I've seen these before. If there's any diet that tells you to not be physically active, you should call the police on these people, because that is really doing a disservice to the public. So don't ever take on a diet that says do not do physical activity or any type of exercise. Save the money. Don't buy the supplements. Hire a trainer, hire a coach, even a dietitian, something like that will give you better results going forward. to keep it as a lifestyle change. You know, you want to keep what you like and go from there. What I would like to do for clients, what I do is potentially say, what do you like to eat? What do you have at your house? Let's just structure what you're eating and change the amounts and change that and switch out some things that are maybe causing the weight gain that you're having here. You know, switch out liquid calories, you know, move the sodas out and change something else and put it in, or keep one in, reduce the amount. That's where you want to go. You have to have patience and you have to have consistency. Those don't sell. Patience and consistency do not sell, unfortunately. People who do take those on, though, do see the greatest success, because that is where it's at and that is what will happen. What you need to do is make it part of your life and make it part of who you are. Eat better because you love yourself, because you want to improve your health. You want to love the time you have under the sun while you're living on this earth and walking around on it. You want to enjoy that time, okay? And you don't need to scarf food down like a monster, because that's the only enjoyment you have. If food is your only enjoyment and gluttony is your only source of pleasure, I would strongly suggest finding other things that can bring you joy in your life. You know, a good meal is great here and there, and that's another thing too. With cheat meals, you know, there's no such thing as a cheat meal. If you want to have a big meal, do it. Just do it once and then go back and then have it sporadically. What that does is, is it perfect? No. Your calories and your macronutrients are not going to be perfect when you splurge on something that you really, really enjoy. But at the same time, if you think about it, if you allow yourself to do that here and there, and then you can have the discipline to get right back onto eating well, that's going to just be fine. You're just going to coast right through that, because one meal every so often is not going to just derail everything. That's another problem with these fad diets that get so restrictive and so rigid that they make the dieter feel like a failure if they do one little thing off. One little thing, and then they quit on themselves and they give up because the diet says not to do this. And if you have a coach or trainer that shames you like that says, "Oh, you didn't do this right," screw them, man. Just say, "You know what? Hey, you did it. Get back. You just got to move forward. You can't dwell back on what you did." The beautiful thing about food is that if you do overeat one day, and you say you eat 1,000 extra calories, and you're like, "Oh, well, whatever." If you really want, normally I would say just get back on track and eat normal, how you should be within your calorie deficit where you're at. But you really can just go ahead and negate that by taking maybe 100 or 200 calories off for the next few days, and that's it. And then you can actually fix that if you really wanted to go that route. But otherwise, I would just get right back on track and eating well. You know, we just got to change our view on society a little bit and what's presented as normal. I've talked about this before, where, you know, these fast food chains and restaurants are just telling you what's normal, what's there, what's to eat. Our culture, our life culture, with this busyness and work, and we all have to brag about how busy we are. And and people will say it to you. You know, if you're in shape, they're going to tell you, "Well, I'm too busy." That's their number one thing. I'm too busy, and they shame and put people down for making a priority of their health. And they say, "Well, I'm busy," and they make that their excuse, and they ride that. That's straight up toxic mentality for everybody involved, especially your own self. If you're making those types of accusations that because you are overweight and unhappy with your physical appearance and your overall health, that it's because somebody else has more free time than you, that's not gonna go well for anybody. And when you find out that this person actually doesn't have more free time than you, then you're really like, oh, what are you gonna say then? So, you know, just be courteous to people. Please don't make assumptions of who's doing what. We all got something going on, and some people it goes even deeper. It roots from insecurities, deep-rooted anxieties, depressions, body dysmorphia, even food addictions. So, you know, shaming somebody and telling them that they're less because they have more time and you're busier and more important, so you can't be in shape, is a very negative mentality. So let's get rid of that. You know, I strongly recommend putting it away. The point counting, the Weight Watchers, the Jenny Craig's, these things, you know, unless, you know, there are probably some people that have figured it all out through starting that way. So I know for a fact that it's really a low percentage, but because it's hard. It's not easy to make a lifestyle change, and the people that do that instead of being shamed should be getting a pat on the back personally, because it's a hard thing to do, especially in our society, how incredibly stacked against us it is here. So anyways, that's some of the red flags of a fad diet. You should be pretty much just eating a good amount of calories, not something super low. Women typically are in their calorie deficit. Now, again, this is a very general statement. So I've seen it as low as, and it depends on age and body makeup and activity level and everything like that, but I've seen it as low as 1,400 calories, high up to 1,900 for some women, even more maybe. That's probably the average. 15, 16, 1,700, that range is good for women for a deficit. Men, somewhere between, I've seen 2,000 to 2,400, maybe down a little lower if you're a smaller individual. But that's typical right there. So, anything more, less than that, anything under 1,800 for a man or under 1,400 for a woman is entirely too low. There's this myth about 1,200 calories for women. It's just this weird number that just, whoa. Because I think that's pretty much the bottom, the absolute bottom of the calorie deficit for every woman is 1,200. And I think that's why certain diets promote 1,200 calories, because that's what you eat, and that is what will get you fat loss fastest. But the problem is when you plateau and your body adapts to that calorie count, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to adjust. You can't adjust your calories down, because if you start at the top of your deficit, which might be, let's say, 1,700, and the bottom of your deficit is 1,400, you have 3 or 4 times where you can drop your calories by 100 and continue on with the fat loss if needed. So there's a lot more to it. It involves cycling between surpluses and deficits, and adding muscle, removing fat to boost metabolism, and then your deficit number rises up and you can eat more food and still look lean. So there's a lot to it, and it's exciting once you get the hang of it. It's a great feeling, and one of the best feelings you'll ever have is knowing that you can eat an indulgent meal and not have to worry about anything from there. You just feel okay about it, and it's okay. You know what to do after that. There's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no failure, there's no wanting to quit on yourself. That is the best feeling you can get when you feel like you have that great relationship with food. You can eat and just have that confidence in yourself to move forward. So that's where it all comes from. Consistency, patience, confidence, knowledge, all that stuff. That's where it's at. It's boring as shit, and that's why it's not sold, but it's why it works. That's usually the way it goes. If it's for money, it's going to be a bunch of fluff and bullshit. So anyways, give me a message if you'd like on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at MFS Wellness, or on email, Mike@mfswellness.com, and we can shoot the shit if you'd like. I appreciate anyone and everyone who's been listening. I've been enjoying doing this podcast. I prefer feedback. I love it. I've gotten some already, which is awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, and we will talk to you on the next episode.